For more on this, Tarek CHERKAOUI joins me now in the studio. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I want to ask you first about this meeting between the Bashar al-Assad and the Sudanese president. What do you make of that?
Well, for some it might be shocking to see these images, but for others I think this is realpolitik unfolding. I think there are three dimensions here. Three rehabilitation attempts are happening at the same time. The first one is the rehabilitation of the Assad regime. There are many forces in the region that would like to see Assad back to the table and back to every forum in the region. There is the other side of the rehabilitation process, which is the rehabilitation of the Sudanese president himself, because he is under threat from the International Justice Court, which, for many reasons, he shouldn't be allowed to travel, but he's doing so, and this is also for him is a good step, especially that he's coming with on a Russian plane, which means that he's courting Russia basically and wants to have the support of Russia. The third rehabilitation attempt is also for the Saudi regime. I think he's there on a mission. He's there on behalf of MBS, because MBS has lost badly on many fronts, and he wants to be back on track through this process.
It's been 8 years now since Mohamed Bouazizi set himself on fire in Tunisia, which led to that domino effect in North Africa and the Middle East. Looking back now, was it all worth it? And have we seen things really change for the better, or is it simply just changed?
Well, in retrospect, of course, there are mixed results from the Arab Spring. There are some limited stories of success, but as you said rightly, there are a lot of stories of mayhem and destruction and a civil war. But again, we shouldn't be simplistic in tackling this. This is a major phenomenon of our time. I think the Arab world has missed the train of democratic transition. This train has happened in Eastern Europe, it has happened in Southern America, it has happened in Africa, it has happened everywhere, almost everywhere in Asia. So the Arab world was the last bastion of autocratic rule. So it was meant to happen. All the indicators were there, in terms of unemployment, in terms of social disparity, in terms of all the repression and things like corruption. All these indexes were against the status quo, which meant it was like the perfect storm.
Why did the uprising result in leaders in some countries being toppled, but Assad not, and Syria being embroiled in this war for the last 7 years?
I think this story is a story of a major axis of counter-revolution. We have seen the UAE and Saudi Arabia spending billions of dollars in order to solidify and strengthen every force in the Arab world that is against democratic transition. So they spent heavily. They managed to get coup d'etat like in Egypt and other places. And initially, of course, they were against Assad, but they changed course in 2014. And when MBS came into power, he basically he did a complete U-turn. So these are partly explaining why some places were very hard to turn, but there is no solution on the table. They have only repressive methods. There is only repression, there's only prison, there's only death. But this can't be a solution. There are like about 50% of the Arab world, which is 200 million people. I'm saying 200 people are living under the poverty line. So this you cannot solve it just by repression.
All right, Tarek CHERKAOUI, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.